Okay, guys, we're here for our Tuesday media availability with Coach Wilcox in advance of the 123rd big game. Go ahead and let me know in the chat that you have a question. I'll call on you. We'll start with Jeff Ferrata.
Hey, good morning, Justin. You've been involved in a few of these big games now as an assistant, now a head coach. Can you just talk about how much different this one maybe feels the whole week and everything that's around it that we don't have because of what's going on with COVID?
Well, certainly it's different just because of the unique nature of this season, but it doesn't minimize the impact of the big game to our team, our fans. We know how much it means to us and everybody out there, and we appreciate it for all that it is, regardless of these circumstances.
You've obviously got plenty on your plate without having to think about this, but I'm wondering if you have empathy for your fans who won't be able to be there on Friday, and it's just such a different circumstance for them as well.
Absolutely, we do. We love our fans, and we wish that they could be out at the games and enjoying, being at the stadium and being around their friends and family as well. It's just one of those things that none of us have control over right now, to a degree, and so we understand that. I mean, we understand people are making sacrifices, and we want to be maybe a part of their life that brings them some joy, and by how we play and give them something to cheer for. And obviously, the big game means a lot to so many people, and wish they could be there. And hopefully, next year we'll be seeing them in person once again.
Thanks.
Okay, go to Trace Travers with Rivals.
I was gonna ask, since it's a home game this weekend, you guys finally get to play in front of the cardboard cutouts. How has it been practicing with those in the stands? It seems, a little weird.
Yeah, no, it's I think everybody's across the country is doing something a little bit different. A lot of cardboard cutouts, and we got ours here and behind our bench, and yeah, it's just that's 2020 in the season. That's how it's going to be, and we understand that. But we know that people will be tuned in, and we recognize how much, like I said before, how much this means to all of our fans and the university and the like. So we're focused on having a great week of practice so we can play at our best Friday.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk about the some of the special team stuff. Was there any, I guess, common denominator through those, or was it just like one person slipping up leads to everything?
It's usually how it goes. If it was one thing, it'd be much simpler to address during the game. We just had kind of one thing leading to the next. Punt team wise, there were some protection issues that we've got to get cleaned up. A couple coverage issues, and then the return game, we had two really unfortunate penalties that I don't know I've ever seen both a kick return and a punt return called back in one game, and we know how those plays impacted the game, whether it was the punt team coverage, punt block, or the returns that were called back. Just key plays in the game, and the guys understand how important that is, and we got to continue to coach them and help them get better.
And will your offensive line look anywhere near what it did during week one with some of those starters coming back, or is your understanding that the guys who started for Oregon State are going to be doing it again?
That's what it looks like, just based on the guidelines that we've been given. We'll know, I think, a little bit more closer to game time, but we're anticipating that being the case. Yeah.
The latter situation. Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to Rusty Simmons from the San Francisco Chronicle.
Coach, now that you've had some time to look at the tape, how did that O-line look to you on Saturday?
I thought the guys, for really not having many reps at all, I thought they played extremely hard. I thought they competed well. It didn't seem too big for them. We there was plenty to correct. It wasn't perfect by any means, but I was proud of how those guys competed, and really a pretty short time frame of, when you're in the twos during the week with kind of the limited practice reps that we get right now, you don't get a ton of work during the week all the time. And so to be called upon in short order there on Friday and come out and compete like they did. And on the sideline, I thought they did a really nice job just addressing things on the sideline and communicating. Again, there's plenty of room for improvement, technique and finishing and those things. But I was proud of how they handled the situation.
And on the other side of the ball, I was going to ask about the two one-play drives. One was a run, one was a pass. So I'm not sure there were any common threads there, but anything you saw on the tape on those?
Yeah, the first play was kind of a domino effect. We got cut out of a gap on a kind of a simple outside zone play, and then we lost our eyes. The free hitter kind of lost our eyes, and it was kind of one thing led to the next, and then gave up a huge run, which, I think if we kind of try and force them to drive the field there, when we did that in the rest of the game, we were able to find a way to get off the field on a third down. But the one play drive, that first play was a tough one. And then the other one was just off of a backed up punt. We got a penalty, and then we kind of didn't get our best punt. And then they had the ball kind of in that fringe zone, we call it, and they took a shot on the first play on the throwback to the tight end, and we're about a step behind there. I don't think it was assignment oriented. It was more just kind of technique oriented. Lost him just for a second, and they converted the touchdown.
Thank you.
Okay. Does anybody else have a question for Coach? Jake, or actually Trace Travers, I think, is next in the queue.
I also wanted to ask about Mike Safel. I know I asked about him on Saturday. Is there any progress with him getting back towards playing?
Yeah, there's progress, and Mike is as tough as they come. So we're hopeful that he'll be available, but we won't know or announce anything until game time.
Yeah, and how did Brian Driscoll kind of do in his place, since that was his first big action, kind of getting thrown in the fire?
Yeah, just echoing the same comments as before, competed really hard. He has room for improvement, which you would expect a guy that hasn't ever played before would. But I thought he went in and battled like crazy, competed really hard. He knew what to do. Not a lot of mental errors by any means, but just things he can continue to, grow and improve upon, and technique standpoint and experience standpoint. There's not a lot substitute for those reps he got in the game. And so I'm proud of him, and just expect him to continue to work and get better.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go back to Jeff Ferrato from Cal Sports Report.
Yeah, Justin, your offense performed so well in the first half at Oregon State, and then there was a big drop off in the second half. And I'm wondering what you attribute that to. Does any of it have to do with maybe the offensive line not playing as well, or what did you see on the tape?
I think it was, it was a matter of execution from one play to the next. Really wasn't a lot of different looks. Whether it was a block here or a throw and catch there, we just didn't sustain the drives like we had in the first half, and then we got it going a little bit more there in the fourth. But I think we all, after looking at the tape, felt like we could have played that third quarter much better, and that's what we'll work on as we move forward into this week.
And can you just tell us what you've seen on tape of Stanford? What's impressed you? Anything surprise you, or what do you see?
No, I mean, big and physical like they have been. They got some good wideouts, create some mismatch, situations with their size. So it would be good for our guys to go out and compete against them. Really talented runner who we know well. Quarterback's a very good player. Seems like they've always, had good quarterback play there. So really done a nice job on offense. Defensively, kind of more of the same, big and physical up front. got some really active linebackers and got some DBs that got some cover skills. And they got a couple new guys that are playing there, but talented guys. And so I think they're a really good football team. And I think they, the games they played better. So.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll go back to Rusty Simmons from the Chronicle.
Coach, kind of going back to some of Jeff's initial questions, I was going to ask about big game week, and I know so much of this is virtual this year. Are you guys doing anything to bring in speakers or anything virtually, kind of getting creative with the circumstances?
Not necessarily. We got a pretty tight timeline this week in terms of preparation. It's a short week. We got Thanksgiving. Not that we can do a lot for Thanksgiving, if anything, but we appreciate the significance of the big game, and our players are aware. It's really more about, how well can we practice, how tuned in can we get to the game plan, all the detail things, because those are going to really drive the game. So we're focused in on that and trying to be just uber efficient with our time.
You mentioned the exact question I was going to ask next. Was a short week with a Friday game and a holiday in between. How are you guys kind of handling the practice schedule?
Just like we did last week. We had a short week last week, so really the same type of schedule. It's just one day up, and the holiday in 2020, it doesn't have a huge impact. I'd love to say that there's a Thanksgiving Day team meal or celebration, but we're just not able to do that, as you all know. So we'll recognize it the best we can and get them a grab and go meal to fill them up. But the holiday celebration would have to wait until next year.
And one more scheduling question. I'm not sure if this will even affect you guys, certainly not this week, but what's your understanding of California's curfew situation? If you guys are scheduled a late game later in the season, how does that affect you guys?
Last week I heard it was an issue, not for us because we were out of state, but for the in-state schools, I heard there could be some conflict there, and the game wasn't able to be played. So we'll see. I mean, I think the Pac-12, I'm sure, is on that, as well as the administrators who are having those daily conversations regarding the ever evolving COVID situation in the different states and in the conference. But ultimately, I'm sure they'll let me know what time the game is. They just traditionally don't ask us. And in situations like this, I would imagine the administrators and the Pac-12 conference would lead the way, and not me.
Thank you.
Go to Jackson Moore from 24/7.
Coach, when it comes to recruiting, just with both of these schools being similarly located and some of the same advantages, how much does head-to-head results play when you're going for a recruit that has both schools as an option?
Yeah, well, I think all results come into play, certainly head-to-head, as you mentioned. And, we do compete in recruiting from time to time, and I know that's one of the things that players and recruits will look at. So we acknowledge that, but it's not something that we, spend a lot of time worrying about. We spend our time trying to get prepared for the game, and so we can go play well, and recognizing that results in this game and all games matter. And so that's kind of where we spend our focus and time.
It seems in general that your team's recruiting efforts have increased year by year, but can you describe maybe how it has been going up against the Stanford recruit now compared to when you first got here?
That'd probably be a better question for the recruits. I think our recruiting has continued to improve, and we're going to continue to work on that. It's something that we do on a daily basis. We spend a lot of time and energy on recruiting. Arguably the most important thing we do in the program is get the right people in the program. And so, it's a big part of it, and will continue to be so. But I think we've made strides there, and we're going to continue to push to develop that.
Thank you.
Okay, Jeff Farado.
Yeah, Justin, you made mention of the 3 offensive linemen who are in the quarantine, but you had 2 other players who weren't able to play that we didn't get any explanation for. Are Braxton Croto and or Colin Moore going to be available? And also the guys who are in the protocol, how are they doing?
The guys that are in the quarantine are doing well. Everybody's, we unfortunately have kind of been through this before, but they're doing well, and hopefully get some clearance to get active here independently of the team sometime soon. But the other guys won't be would be game time as well, and then we'll once we get to Friday, or we'll release the depth chart and kind of see where we're at on that day.
Just to be clear, are Croto and Moore in the quarantine, or is there a situation separate from that?
Yeah, it's not something that that I'm able to comment on. I just can't comment on those things right now.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay, Trace Travers from Rivals.
Also wanted to ask about the other 2 guys who were out, and Chris, who was on the sideline for you guys, and Stanley. Will those guys be able to come back by Friday?
We hope. We're hopeful.
All right. Thank you.
Anybody else have a final question for Coach? Okay, seeing none, I think that's it, and we'll see a bunch of you guys on Friday.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Coach.
Bye-bye.